Hi, my name is Danielle Mizrahi, and I am one of the co-owners of Yeasty Brews, and I am the boss.
I'm Dan. I'm one of the co-owners of Yeasty Brews. I am the brewmaster, the bar manager, sometimes the head chef, the ceiling patcher.
The ceiling patcher.
A lot of breweries say making unique beers with the cleanest ingredients, but our beers were pretty damn unique. You know, we got inspiration on the whole milkshake craze, so we started making milkshake IPAs, milkshake Hefeweizens, and I was kind of like, I've worked at all these breweries that focus on pulling the yeast out of their beer, like whether it's centrifuge or filtering beer, they want the clearest beer, no haze to it. And then one day Bud Light had a commercial that said 4 ingredients in beer, and not one of them was yeast. So that's kind of where I came up with how can I incorporate yeast into the name of the beer and to the brewery, because everyone thinks beer is all hops or beer is all grain, barley. But I'm like, well, you can't have alcohol without yeast. So that's kind of where the name came up. I started at Fat Point Brewing in Punta Gorda, worked my way up, and that's where I got my first homebrew system as well. So my first batch of beer I brewed was actually for a production brewery and not a homebrew. I really wanted to, always said, you know what, if I'm going to homebrew, I might as well do it right, because I don't want to make beer that I can't drink or that I won't drink. So I really learned the whole process, how to brew, sanitation, water profiles, how to blend grains and hops together, how to blend all the ingredients to make a smooth drinking product, and just a really high quality beer. And then from there, I went on to become the director of brewing at Lauderhill. And after that, I ended up at Fort Myers Brewing and helped them with their increase of production. And then we decided at some point, let's try this ourselves. Every brewery I've worked at has each won a gold medal at Great American Beer Fest. And we said, you know what, there must be a trend going on here. Each time I go to a brewery, they win their first gold medal right after I leave. So I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. Let's see what we can do on our own and how our brewery can go.
We started, when was that? Around like 2015, 2016 maybe?
Yeah.
You were doing that?
Yep.
So we were also living in Fort Myers, and there wasn't a huge brewery scene there. It was very limited. So the stuff that we like to drink wasn't really there. Mm-hmm. So when he got his homebrew system, I was like, okay, I wasn't huge into beer back then. How can we make some beers that someone like me would enjoy too? So that's where the whole fruit addition came in, or doing the milkshakes, or adding vanilla, cinnamon, ginger. We do a lot with that stuff too. So it was almost like cocktail inspired beers that not many people were doing. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, we made sure everything was fresh. So we didn't want to use extracts or super puree filled sugar beers. Everything was light and refreshing, like crafted cocktails are, Mm-hmm. Once he started doing that, I was like, oh, wow, okay, these are good. And then we would give them to all of our friends and neighbors, and none of them were beer drinkers either. So when that started catching on with everyone we knew, we're like, maybe we have something here. John Falco met Dan from Lauderhill, and that kind of got us into brewing professionally. I'll let you talk about that.
Well, he always told me that if I ever wanted to open my own brewery, come to him first. And his door was always open for us to brew at his place, as they call it, Gypsy Brew. So I finally took him up on that offer about 3 years later, 2 to 3 years later, after we were trying to open a brewery in Fort Myers. We said, what can we do here? It doesn't look like Fort Myers is working out. Let's just get a batch done. I got on the phone with John Falco at Lincoln Spirit and said, hey, is that offer still on the table? And he knew exactly what I was talking about. And he said, drive to Miami from Fort Myers Saturday. Let's meet at the brewery around 3 p.m. Have a recipe and a name ready. And so we did it. and we picked our milkshake Hefeweizen. So that was really cool. And we noticed that Miami was killing that beer. It was insane. The amount of sales we were getting, the amount of restaurants and bars that we were getting into, Instagram messages from people saying, hey, do you have a tap room? Where can I get more banana slinger? This and that. So we realized, you know what? We have a market for this in South Florida. So let's head on out South Florida. You know, our family and friends are all down here anyway. So it just worked out.
When COVID actually hit, was that in like March, I want to say. We decided to close our warehouse in May after a few months of like all the sales declining, bars closing. We were like, well, it doesn't really make sense to have two places. So we closed that one and focused mainly on this. We thought we would have been open way sooner than we did. It took actually like 13 months instead of maybe we thought 8, 9. So COVID definitely slowed a lot of things down. At the same time, yeah, we got to focus on like all the smaller details in the place. We got to do more recipes, figure more things out with like logistics and not actually rush and open. So we definitely maximized that time. And we started canning right away. We got labels, we got designs. So we did a lot of stuff in that extra time instead of just wasting it, I would say. This is our life, you know, like being in the industry, being in the tap room, making the beer. Like we talk about it all the time. We're drinking it all the time. We're always thinking of like newer, better, whatever things.
As a business owner, sharing customers isn't bad. None of us are here for competition. I'm not trying to steal your customers. I encourage our customers to go to other breweries too.
And we want everyone to feel like they are welcome and they are a part of it and they can join it, and like nobody's too cool. Don't be scared. Like, yeah, all these beers are weird and different, but like we're open to take the adventure with everyone. And I feel like people feel good when they come here and when they meet us, especially. So yeah, in that aspect, like it's been amazing.